reading one thing, and I'm assuming with the confusion of making our revival meeting guide and our Sunday morning guide, I got the songs mixed up because my daughter thinks we got to sing 3 or 4 different songs. So anyway, we are getting that changed here shortly, and but I don't know how you were going to do Living Hope, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so she's trying to find the music for that for her, and so I just want to welcome you. We're going to use this time as our announcements. I hope you've looked at your bulletin. We've got a week full. Number one, we've got Sunday morning and Sunday night today, and then we've got Monday night is our last revival meeting this month, and hoping and praying that you will come and hear Brother Wilson more. I know it'll be exciting. I wish everyone could hear him because he is in the midst of, I guess you could say, the middle of Concord in what they call the Bottoms. And literally that is the name that they call this place, which is downtown Concord, which is basically drug infested, prostitute infested. It's unbelievable what's going on downtown Concord. It's our little town of Concord. But he's planning a church right in the middle of all that. And he's going and he's knocking on doors. And Wilson and his wife is doing a great job. And you are part of that ministry because you give to the North Carolina Missions offering which gives to and funds the church planting. And so that's what the convention is funding his salary until he can get the church up and coming. So there's a lot to be heard Monday night. And then we probably will have Frank Bigger's funeral on Tuesday. We will let you know for sure later today. The arrangements have not been made yet. And then last but not least, I want you to remember Wednesday night. We're going to continue in our study. And if you'll remember, we were working through chapter 14. I'm going to ask you before you come tonight at 6 o'clock, read chapter 14 for me. And we're going to see some things that we've learned out of, and we're watching Abram grow. And now we're going to watch him rise to power. And I promise you, if you'll come tonight, you'll find out it's not the way you understand rising to power. The world has one version of rising to power. God has another. See, what we have found in our study that the people at the Tower of Babel, you've all heard that story, right? They said to one another, let's build this tower and make a name for ourselves. And God stopped it. Abraham, he made a name for him. And the people of the Tower of Babel, we heard no more. So friends, I just want to encourage you to come as we will finish chapter 14 tonight. We will begin chapter 15 on Wednesday night if the Lord's willing, and we can get through it. Boy, I'm excited about it. So I'm glad you're here. I just appreciate it. It's good to be back home, telling me. I'm telling you, it's been a thrill to go back down to Rockingham and preach revival or preach homecoming. It was good to see their faces. But it's always good to be home and to see your faces and to see me back with you, what I'm calling home. And so thank you so much for allowing Darlene and I to go. The deacons let me go down, and I know you enjoyed Mr. Moore as he came and as he preached. Jerry always does a wonderful job, and we thank God for his willingness to fill in. So you see, and you'll read a whole lot more in your bulletin. There's some sign-up sheets. There's activities coming up. You need to sign up today. So just act on whatever God leads you to do. All right? Any other announcements?
Spring hockey begins this Saturday at 10. All kids are invited, even adults. So we appreciate your support in getting the wine and the soft drinks, and for the ladies who make desserts. And we just invite everybody to come.
Amen. And as I told the prayer group this morning, we guarantee rain Saturday. It hadn't rained in a month. It will rain Saturday. You mark my word. Because every time we schedule a street hockey, it's going to rain. So, and everybody said, amen, yeah, schedule another street hockey. Anybody else with announcements? Well, once again, it's so good to have our visitors with us today. Also, it's so good to see you home folk again. I love you, and thank you for allowing me to come back home. Lisa, let's sing Live in Hope. I don't know what God's going to do, but this is how He worked it out, and we just going to have to run with it, all right?
All right, so please stand and sing this song with us.
How high the mountain
I know we make mistakes, but God does not make mistakes, and so I have to trust Him even in my failure that we did exactly what He wanted us to do today. And that's exactly what I'm preaching on, is our only living hope, and that is Jesus Christ. It's going to be a very simple day today, folks. I think we need to get back to the basics, to the foundations that Paul talked about. But this time in our service where we come together as brothers and sisters, and I hope you were in Sunday school this morning, because it was a powerful scripture that is found in the first 15 verses of chapter 3 of the book of Ephesians. And basically he teaches us about the church. I set aside in our service a time that we can bring our prayer to each other as well as to the Lord. I know you can pray at home by yourself. You can take this prayer list and you can pray over it, and God will be glorified. But friends, there's nothing like being able to lean on a friend. Asking a friend to help you join you in prayer. To share your burdens. To confess your sins. See, that's what the church did, and they loved one another, and they forgave one another. And that's why I still think there's a time of praise and prayer. And so I want to start out with a praise report. I found out this week by a wonderful text that Miss Diane Morgan that's sitting behind me, her husband Norman was able to leave Bethany Woods and go home. Let's give God a praise. Has he behaved since he come home?
No.
I didn't think so. All right. He's acting like his wife then, right?
Well, he's made me sick, so.
The crud. Right.
I did put it on the board.
Okay. Good. Amen. Well, at least he knows where we stand there, right? Amen. All right. Now, Norman has really worked hard through therapy and rehab there at Bethany Woods, and we had a good time, and I'm so glad. Brenda One has asked us to remember their niece. Her name is Natalie. Natalie Lucas, and she's in her mid to late 40s and has had a heart attack and is now waiting open heart surgery. They did find a praise report out of this, and that is, number one, they've got her stable with no pain, but they also are saying instead of a quadruple bypass, they're looking at a double now. And so that's a blessing, but she's possibly facing that this coming Tuesday unless something changes. Remembering Frank Bigger's family. Frank went so fast. Me and Pat was talking just this week that bless his heart, on Monday he said, I'm not going to the doctor. I'm through with them. I'm tired of being a guinea pig. I'm tired of being hurt. I'm tired and I'm done. And within 5 days he's dead. That amazed me that the Lord actually took him that quickly. But I can give God the praise that God got Frank where he was willing to ask God into his heart and to save his life before it was eternally too late. Remember James Plowman, as he's looking to try to find God's will and God's way in where to go next. Beverly asked us to remember Joanne Howe as she is now going into a nursing facility. Deanna asked us to remember one of her neighbors, Buddy Holt, as he's now found out he's got 2 types of throat cancer. And also I want you to remember the family of Diane Shelton, which is Barbara Thompson's sister. They will be holding a memorial service for her in Monroe this coming Saturday And if anyone would be interested in riding the van, I'll take the van, the church van, and we'll drive to Monroe. We'll leave here about 3:30 Saturday afternoon. If you're interested, see me or call the office this week and let me know how many's going. If not, I'm going, in my personal truck. But if we have any that would like to go, it is downtown Monroe. It's actually on, the address is 204 South Main Street, is McEwen Funeral Home, is where it will be headed. So anybody interested, let me know, and we will put your name and look for you that day. Well, that's enough for me. What about you? Anybody have a praise report or maybe a prayer request? Stand up right now and share with us. Anyone? Into that. Okay? Nancy's. Her name's Nancy Miller. Many of you know her. Married to Steve Miller. Basically raised her kids right over here on Mill Hill. But they said that she has found they have found a golf ball size tumor on her brain. And they're going to be doing an emergency surgery to ask you to remember Nancy Miller in your prayers. Randy, go ahead.
I want to thank the Lord for my grandparents having a safe trip to Florida, and hopefully they'll be, everything will be good on the way back. Thanks to everybody for all the people that helped us go to Carowinds last weekend. The kids had a fun time. We all, the adults had a fun time. And then I want to ask for the Aaron Page family. They're still having a benefit this afternoon. If y'all remember them, they still have some things that they need to take care of. So I just want to say thank you and remember them.
Amen. Thank you, Brandon, for that reminder. Yes, Doris.
Well, everybody knows I've been down in heart and recently, and I thank everybody for the prayers. I know you're praying for me. The doctor said it wasn't my heart, and I'm praising God for that. I do see cardiologist Thursday, and I just want to know why it doesn't kill me. But I'm thankful for everything, and I just appreciate God very much. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you, Doris. Miss Luke.
I'll make it short and sweet. I just thank the Lord for my salvation. I thank Him for saving my soul, forgiving me for my sins, and watching over me day and night. Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you for that. Amen. Let's give God a hand for that. Because Luke pretty much summed up the Sunday school lesson today that, the mystery has been revealed, and it's amazing that God would reveal it to us. That He would actually reveal it, because He could have put you on the backside of Egypt, and basically you never heard the gospel but once. God presented it and revealed it to you, and we ought to be able just to stand up and shout today. So I'm going to ask you, let's honor Him by standing as we pray today. And then we'll follow that up with a song. A song of praise. Father, thank you that you recognized our greatest need. Father, you recognized that we were lost and undone. Literally in a fight with you. But through your mercy and through your grace, pray today that they will be bold enough to trust you as you reveal to them the gospel of Jesus Christ today. As we gather around this table and as we partake of your body and of your bread, Father, help us to remember. We ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
If you'll grab your hymn book and turn to page 159. Page 159, singing first and last, first and last. The trump shall resound, and the Lord shall descend. Even so, it is well with my soul.
It is well
boys and girls? While they're standing talking, we're going to go ahead and get started. Because after all I've run my mouth, it's already 20 to 12, and it's about time to go home. And we got Lord's Supper and a sermon to do. So, and I want to tell you a story. I want you to do something for me. I want you to repeat after me. Are you ready? All right, ready. For God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whoever, I can't hear you, that whoever believes in Him shall not perish, but have what?
Everlasting life.
Amen! What is that I just asked you? That's right. Give her my hand. What verse and book? Huh? Lennon says it's John 3:16. Is that right? Pretty sure. It's actually gospel. Isn't that something? It's the gospel. The gospel is good news. Okay? And so I'm going to challenge you today, instead of playing on your phones, playing under the pew, listen to what I have to say today, because I've got a very simple message to all, to the adults as well as to you. But I want to tell you a story about John 3:16. I told this years ago, and I got to thinking about it. There's only one or two of you that's ever heard this. And I know a lot of them have heard it. So listen to the story very closely. And it was once upon a time. There's a little boy who was walking the streets of Chicago in the beginning of winter. And he was cold. He had nowhere to go. And a policeman saw him, and a policeman walked up to the little boy and he said, "Son, what are you doing out? Why aren't you at home where it's warm?" He said, "I have no home." He said, "Where are your parents?" And the little boy looked with tears in his eyes and he said, "Sir, I have no parents." He said, "Okay, son, this is what I want you to do. I want you to listen very closely to my instructions. Follow it to the letter, and you're going to find a home." He said, "Okay." He said, "I want you to walk down the street 3 blocks. You're going to find a white house with a white picket fence around it, and it's the only one on the block. And he said, I want you to go through the white picket fence, knock on the door, and when you get to the door, when you knock, there's going to be this little short lady that's going to come to the door, and she's going to say, 'Can I help you?' I want you to look at her and say, John 3:16. That's it." The little boy said, "Is that all?" And he said, "Yeah, that's all. Just tell her John 3:16. And the little boy looked at the policeman. He said, "Man, I don't understand it, but I'll try." So he does exactly what the policeman told him to do, and he knocked on the door. And this little lady come to the door, and he said, John 3:16. Well, she just broke out in a smile, and she said, "Oh, come on in. I know you're about to freeze. Come and sit beside the fireplace and warm up." And that little boy was so warm. It was such a warm spot to be in. And he was so tired, but he was getting a little hungry. So the little lady said, "Son, I tell you what, I'm going to go in the kitchen and fix you something while you warm up. So you just stay here and warm up." And when she walked out of the room, the little boy thought about it. John 3:16. I don't understand it, but it makes a cold boy warm. The little lady called to the boy, and she said, "Supper's ready, come on in." And so he goes in, and my goodness, she had made him a spread. She had made him absolutely everything. And he sit down and he ate like he had never eaten before. Man, he was hungry. You know, it's like a day of play. Man, he was shoveling it in. That's right. He was shoveling it in, and he just, man, he couldn't believe how good this food was. And the woman looked at him and she said, "Son, you mighty dirty. I tell you what, I'm going to go run you a bath water." And she says, "You finish eating while I go run that bath water." That little boy thought to himself, he said, "I don't understand. John 3:16, I don't understand it, but it sure makes a hungry boy go." So he finishes his meal and he walks up the stairs and he goes up and she has made him a warm bath, and he gets in that bathtub and he just sinks, and he has got crust and dirt all over him from months. He hasn't had a bath in months, and he's laying there, and she said, "You enjoy your bath. You play as long as you want to. I'm going to go make your bed, because as soon as you get out, you're going to be sleepy and you're going to be ready to go to bed." And that little boy sitting in that tub, and all you could see was his face sticking out of the water. And he got to thinking, John 3:16. I don't understand it, but it sure makes a dirty boy clean. So when the bath was over, he makes his way to the bedroom, and she takes and tucks him in, says a prayer over him. And she's got him tucked in so warm and so sweet. She walks out and she said, "I'll see you in the morning." The little boy laying there, almost asleep, and he said, John 3:16, "I don't understand it, but it sure makes a sleepy boy rest." The next morning, he woke up to the smell of bacon. The house was full of the smell of food, and oh, he couldn't wait to get up and get him a big breakfast. He ran down to the kitchen table, and there sat this little lady. She had a Bible open. And she explained to the little boy what John 3:16 was. She said, "For God so loved you that he gave his only begotten Son, his only Son for you, that if you would believe in him, you won't perish, but you'll have everlasting life." That little boy looked at that lady and he said, "I believe." And so he looked at the lady and said, "I still don't understand John 3:16. But I understand one thing. John 3:16 sure makes a lost boy saved." So when you hear those words, that's the gospel. It's the good news that God loved you so much that he died for you so that you might live forever. Let's thank him for it. All right, boys and girls, say these words. Dear Father, thank you for sending your Son to die for me. Amen. Thank you, boys and girls. Let's give them another hand, folks. I'm going to ask you, if you would, to go ahead, and as the kids are coming back, go ahead and come and rise to your feet. Rise to your feet. What I'd like to do today is I'd like to expand a little bit on the Sunday school lesson. And Paul used the word mystery 3 times in our Sunday school lesson today alone. And I want to try to help you and I uncover this mystery. Paul said, by which, when you read, you may understand my knowledge in the mystery of Christ. I've never got over John 3:16. And there's a mystery there that will elude me until I get to heaven. But I am sure glad that he pulled back the curtains of my eyes showed me the greatest gift that He could give. Not prosperity, not even peace, but He gave me His priceless Son. So will you repeat these words with me? The words are there on the screen if you don't know it by heart. But it says, "For God so loved the world that He gave His only begotten Son, that whoever believes in Him should not perish, but have everlasting life." It's still a mystery to me. Father, help us to uncover this mystery. You may be seated. Thank you. For God so loved the world. We find that God chose to love us and to love you. You know, and I can understand that how God could love some of you, because some of you are very lovable. But to love me and to know my faults and to know my wrongs, it's always been a mystery to me why God would actually love me. But the way we understand it, and according to John 3:16, God chose to love. And He chose to love all. You see, I can understand how He can love the church. But can you tell me how He can love the prostitute? Can you tell me how He can love the child molester? Can you tell me how He could love the man that drove the nails in His own Son's wrist and feet? That's a mystery to me. But John 3:16 tells me that He chose to love me and to love you in spite of who you are and in spite of what you've done. And He went one step further than we do. Most of the time, we are good at saying, "Oh, I love you. See you later, love you." Don't hang up the phone without saying, "I love you." God said it in His Word over and over and over again. But the most amazing thing and the mystery that has been revealed and has been uncovered is that God sent His only Son to die. You see, He showed that love. You see, He showed it by giving us, and that word begotten in the Greek literally means unique. Means one of a kind. There's not one like Him, and there'll never be another like Him. And a lot of people struggle with this and that. But let me tell you something. The mystery is being uncovered, and that He, God, gave His best. He could have given Gabriel the angel. He could have given Michael the angel. He could have given any angel from heaven, but He didn't. No, He gave His very best. And when I stop and think about John 3:16, when we say these words that He gave His only begotten Son, we find out that He gave His only. See, really, truthfully, He gave His all. I want to stay simple today, but I'm going to tell you, you can dig into John 3:16, and you can camp out here for a good month in preaching and studying. Because if you took every word of this literal, it literally meant that God died for you. When Christ died on the cross, God the Father died for you. Because if you believe in the Trinity of God, meaning God the Father, God the Son, and God the Holy Spirit, they cannot do anything separate. They cannot Jesus Christ died for you, then God died for you. I could not ever get over that. See, He gave all to die for our sins and our failures, not for His. That's what we celebrate around this table. That's why we believe. That's why we come around this table, and we as a church body have decided to do it every fifth Sunday if it works out on our calendar. The early church did it every time they met. But we don't do it because it's routine. We don't do it because it's the right thing to do. We do it because we believe. What do we believe? Well, basically, this is where so many Christians get it wrong. Or, I'm going to say so-called Christians. Yeah, they believe that God sent His Son. They're all good with that. But you see, He's asked you to do one more thing. He's asked you to trust His life to this truth. He's asked for you to throw it all in for this truth. He's asked you to follow Him. You see, believing is more than just acknowledging in your brain that this happened in history. That does you no good. The only time that salvation is real is when you truly have put your trust and you thrown it all in and you followed Him. You followed Him in your workplace, in your home. You followed Him, and the one greatest point and the one greatest truth is that you rest in Him. We can fret over things going wrong, like the wrong song and the wrong. Let me tell you something, friends. I'm learning just to rest. He doesn't make a mistake. For some reason, He did that. I don't know why. You said, well, Glenn, you made a mistake. Yeah, but God is ultimately in control. God could have struck me dead before I got here today, and He didn't. You see, believing is not just knowing that Jesus existed. It's throwing everything in and saying, I'm all in. Then, and only then, you can live with the passion and with the confidence and with the great joy. Let me tell you something. The more I throw in, the more I'm going to get back. But John 3:16 says that we should not perish, but that we might have everlasting life. What do I have to be afraid of? What do I have to dread? You see, the sad part about it is He's wanting me to trust Him in life. But also He's calling you to trust Him in death and me. One thing that I want to say, and I know our time is gone. The most amazing thing is I have dealt with Frank Biggers for the last 20 years. And I shared this story with my Sunday school class, and I'm not going to go into ultimate detail other than 2 weeks ago, God finally got Frank facing death. And Frank, for the first time, said, yes, I'm going to call on the Lord to be saved. I'm awful glad because 2 weeks later he's dead. But I watched that man go home and say, I'm done. Everything's great. And he lay there and he grinned and he laughed. And he would see his friends, his family loved on him. He'd give them a hard time, let me tell you. But he was happy. He was at peace because God had finally settled that case between him and God. For over 70-some years, he had ran and fought God. And finally, I'm going to stand over his grave over his place of burial. And I can tell that family that on that day, he bowed his head in the hospital, and I asked him, I said, Frank, are you ready to get and receive this gift? And it's the gift of grace. And he said, I'm finally ready. I watched him stand right here with his daughter's casket right here, and I heard him pray the prayer, but he left from here and he ran from God. You can pray 100 prayers, but folks, it's when you finally put your life and trust in him. It's finally when you turn your death over to him, and it's finally when you say, your eternity is mine and mine is yours. That's what John 3:16 means. It's not that I get a free ticket to heaven. No, it's I can actually live a life. And my eternity is today. So God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son for me, that whosoever believes in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. The mystery's been uncovered. The mystery has been revealed. And Paul says, he said, I'm glad he found me on the road of Damascus. And he revealed to me, you see, God has done something today that he's promised to do for everyone. He said, I just took your excuse away when it comes time for judgment. You've heard the gospel. I'm going to ask you to act on it. Mama, will you come and play softly? She's going to play on the cross. We're not going to sing. We're just going to ponder and prepare for this little song. You see, there's room for you in the kingdom of God. Paul was excited this morning. He said, you know, the mystery's been revealed that the Gentiles can join this family. That the Gentiles can actually be saved. That's only part of the mystery, folks. The greatest mystery is that God can save thee and you. So every head bowed, every eye closed. Maybe there's someone right now that says, I've heard the gospel for the first time, and I want this gift that God gives. I'm going to ask you to step out right now. I'm going to ask you to step forward and come. Take me by the hand. Or take God right where you stand, or where you sit. And say to God right now, God, I need you more than life itself. And I come asking for forgiveness. For I'm a sinner and need a Savior. Will you please forgive me? Will you save me and help me to believe so that I can face life, death, and eternity? Save my soul, I pray. Friends, if you said those words, just step forward right now and let your family know. Come up here right now and grab me by the hand. You don't have to say a word. We'll work through it. We'll work on it. Maybe you need to come today. Maybe you need to thank Jesus for what he's done in your life. Come on. I'll ask you if you will take your place. Everyone else is praying. Everyone else is bowed, working through it, asking God that this would be a worshipful time for you. Will you come forward now as we make our way? Let not your heart be troubled. You believe in God, believe also in me. In my Father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you, and if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you to myself. That where I am, there you may be also. And where I go, you know, and the way you know. And Thomas said to him, Lord, we do not know where you are going, and how can we know the way? Jesus said to him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. To understand the mystery, we have to go back to the day that Jesus instituted and changed the Passover meal to the Last Supper. And it was the Passover meal. And it said that he took bread and he gave thanks. And he broke it and gave it to them, saying, this is my body, which is given for you. Do this in remembrance of me. And would you please stand with me? Brother Joe, would you lead us in the blessing of bread, please? having not seen, you love. Though now you do not see him, yet believing, you rejoice with joy inexpressible and full of glory, receiving the end of your faith, the salvation of your souls. Jesus came to the third cup of supper, which is the cup of sin and of conviction. And he held the cup up and he said, "This is my body and my blood." He said, "It's my promise of the new covenant, which is shed for me." Brother Tommy, would you lead us in this time of prayer for the blessing of the cup, please? John writes, if we say that we have fellowship with him and walk in darkness, we lie and do not practice the truth. But if we walk in the light as he is in the light, we have fellowship one with another. And the blood of Jesus Christ, his Son, cleanses us from all sin. And this is the will of him who sent me, Jesus said, that everyone who sees the Son and believes in him may have everlasting life. And I will raise him up, Jesus said, at the last day. I'm going to ask you, if you would, to please stand. And join us as we sing, blessed be the tie that binds. And this will be the closing of our service. And may God bless you. Thank you for being here.